When my mom wanted to compliment someone, she would always say, "Where do you hide your wings?" And if you look up in the skies over Seattle, there's a chance that you could see the wings of our very special guest today on Spirit 1053. I believe Rick Browdy, the president of Wings of Rescue, is with us on the phone right now. Hi, Rick. I'm Erica. How are you?
Oh, recovering from all the flights that we did this weekend and getting ready to do the next batch.
Oh, you are one of my heroes. Tell me all about Wings of Rescue. How did it get started and how did you get involved?
Well, it was started before me by a gentleman from Israel, and he bowed out early in 2016. I came in 2014. Since our inception in 2012, we've flown 76,000 pets to safety from disaster areas and overcrowded shelters. And we've delivered almost 900,000 pounds of humanitarian aid and veterinary aid to disaster victims. We've responded to every disaster in the Western Hemisphere, be it hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes, wildfires, as this weekend, flooding, cold snaps. When disaster strikes, Wings of Rescue is always there.
Wow. I mean, what meaningful work. Why do you do what you do?
Because if I don't do it, who else will, is the way I look at it. I come from a rock and roll background. I was a record producer and songwriter and was very fortunate to have sold 29 million records, so it allowed me to do something. And one day I woke up and said, I've never done anything to make the world a little bit better. And so this is my way of, saying thank you for the privilege of living.
Oh, my goodness. I love that so much, Rick. So you flew personally 60 dogs and cats from California, brought them out of the wildfires to our city, Seattle. How are they all doing?
They're doing great from what I understand. Well, they're a lot happier in Seattle. I mean, Seattle's kind of the emerald city for pet rescue. It always has been because you have such an amazing population it's hard to find somebody who doesn't have a pet.
Yeah.
And maybe even harder to find one who doesn't have two. And it's just always been, you have so many great shelters, including Seattle Humane, Paws, Kitsap Humane, the NOAA Center. You have all these amazing things, the Cat Cafe downtown and the Paws runs. Seattle is the emerald city for pet rescue or for pet ownership and for pets. So, it was a logical place to go. And in addition to those 60 pets, we also delivered some pets down to Oregon on that same flight. We stopped in Troutdale, Oregon, right outside of Portland. And so, and the day before, we flew, 90 pets up to Utah. And we've got 5 more flights on the books, and we're adding more seemingly by the hour. From Los Angeles, which was my hometown for so many years, and it's just frightening as we fly over to see the devastation there, knowing so many people there, my closest friends and family who've lost their homes, and lost everything. We had to go. There was never even a moment of doubt, so we just had to get the health certificates issued, and we were in the air immediately.
Rick, I am so thankful for you. What is it like when you pick up these precious dogs and cats compared to when you drop them off?
Well, there's, you have this feeling of elation when you close the door on the plane and okay, our precious cargo is safe. And then you have this horrible feeling of you turn around and you go, but we didn't save everybody and we got to go back and we got to get there. We got to find the money and financing to do that. And that dread sort of sits there for a while. Yeah. And then you get to Seattle Humane or you get to Boeing Field and you see the people from Seattle Humane and people from Pity Project Northwest there and, and know that a couple of other shelters have called us and said, we're going to try and make room for these pets. You feel so happy. You see these people, welcoming these pets who have been forlorn. And the pets that we flew, we need to make this distinction, are pets that were in the shelters prior to the storm, who were about to be euthanized because they needed to make room for the incoming pets who were displaced by the firestorm.
Yeah.
And so we've got to make room for them, and we've got to hold those pets for 30 days before we can transport them because the goal is to reunite people with their pets. And
Yes.
now those pets are going to be held because some people might even turn in their pets, but then they're going to go back and find it isn't as bad as we thought. We hope that's the case. And they'll come back and get their pets because you don't want some child to have lost lost everything and lost their pet on top of that. I mean, my gosh.
Right.
So we have a 30-day rule because we figure in 30 days people are going to be able to figure out what their life situation is.
Yes.
And some people, your pet might have run off from your house and gone over the county line because it's so frightened.
Sure.
And maybe in a shelter that you didn't think to look at. So we want everybody to have every opportunity to do this. And we want to save the lives of the pets who would otherwise be euthanized to make room for these pets to stay for however long they're going to stay.
Oh.
So those are the pets that came up. These were strays or owner turn-ins, and this will be their first chance at life for many of them. So we're better to have a first chance of life than Seattle, Washington.
Amen.
I don't know.
I love the layers of care that you all put into this. I have to ask you, Rick, what is it like on the flight? Do you hear like a lot of meows and barking, or do you hear anything?
Okay, this is the true answer is until we get to 10,000 feet, they all fall asleep. And then as we come down at about 3,000 feet, it's like having 103-year-olds asking if we're there yet. It's just like, it's pretty funny.
Wow.
All of a sudden they're all waking back up. And, they're riding in the same cabin with me. It's a pressurized cabin. So they're right by me. And all of a sudden I'm just like, oh, I can't hear her, and I'm like, on the headset. And sometimes the people from air traffic control are going, what's going on in that plane? So
that is so fantastic. You painted so many beautiful pictures. Rick Browdy, president of Wings of Rescue. Thank you so much for being with us. And please hang out with us again. Keep us posted.
all right. Thank you so much.
All right. God bless.